There's a point at which the law becomes immoral and unethical. That point is reached when it becomes a cloak for the cowardice that dares not stand up against blatant violations of justice. Kurt Huber. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. If you pay attention, we've actually allowed our cowardice to escalate to a point where we allowed democracy to die in our country. What Bin Laden did was so much worse than his killing 2,000 people. What he did was reveal America's big, deepest, darkest secret, the big elephant in the room that nobody wanted to talk about. That is just how cowardly are Americans. And judging by our actions lately, it's even higher than I thought. I long suspected the cowardice in our nation. Um, we now know it's true. We allowed gunmen to go in and kill our children. We had an opportunity to at least minimally create a common sense law which calls for background checks. I'm not gonna get into the Second Amendment. I think it's bullshit. Anybody with half an IQ knows it's bullshit. I'm gonna leave that part alone. Because America's cowards, you need your guns to help you sleep at night. I get that part. Because America are cowards, and any trying to change the Constitution scares you. I get that part. But allowing children to die and look at parents in the face, I don't get that part. I don't understand how we as a nation who's supposed to protect our children, how the Republican Party in one sentence could say we're doing all this bullshit, like taking away education, taking away this, taking away that, because we care about the future of our children. Then in the same breath say, but we want guns in the street. I don't understand how we don't allow guards to carry guns in prisons where it's full of killers and murderers and rapists, but we think it makes sense to put guns in classrooms. Yeah, that's called cowardice. That's when you're running so scared you don't know what the fuck to do with yourselves. And we allow our cowardice to kill democracy. That's the part that kills me the most. Most of the NRA wanted background checks. Most of America wanted background checks. Everybody wanted background checks. The only people who didn't want background checks was the head of the NRA, and of course the few idiot asshole zealots who will follow anything the NRA says. They didn't give a fuck about kids getting killed. Hey, we're America the cowards. What the fuck do you expect? But the majority of the people wanted this, and yet the majority of the people didn't get it their way. How the fuck do you call yourself a democracy when the laws are changed and manipulated by a handful of rich people? They made the law, not the majority of the people. Let's be very clear about this. A handful of people in the NRA did not want the background checks. The majority of the Americans wanted the background checks. The majority of the NRA itself wanted background checks. Something simple. Hey, can we please keep the guns out of the hands of killers and crazy motherfuckers? Can we get a little quick background check? You do a background check if you want a fucking driver's license. I get a background check to coach Little League football. You gotta get background checks for every other fucking thing, but for a gun, you don't need one. And we didn't say a fucking thing. See, even if I was a Republican and I was happy about something, I get when you win and the majority of the people want something. If the majority of the people did not want background checks, hey, more power to you. I get that. But if you're a Republican and you don't see the problem with a handful of people, their will over overruled the majority of the people. When money is more powerful than the will of the people, my friends, that is no longer a democracy. That's called an aristocracy. We have an aristocracy in this nation now. And the sick part is it's getting blended in with a little bit of theology, and it's getting blended in with this, it's getting blended in with that. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it comes down to two things always: greed and a form of psychological training called skips me. What's the word called? It's called conditioning. See, every human being, everyone, you, me, everybody, we have basic conditions, and in psychology they call it conditioning. But basically that means that every human being, we seek pleasure and avoid pain. So that the rich people have figured out that all you gotta do is tell the Americans, oh, this will hurt you, this is gonna hurt you, and we will do anything. We will spend anything, anything to avoid pain. We won't fight for shit. You tell us, you tell us all we do is write out a check for something to avoid pain, and we write this check out. Okay, that's cowardice. That's what we become. Wake up, America. Wake up. We already let democracy die. What's next?